In the previous video, we learned how to install and set up the Xcode IDE to start to write iOS and OS X application using Swift. In the WWDC 2014, Apple introduced a really interesting tool to write Swift code in a fast and easy way, and see the result right away without needing to compile or run it. It was called Playgrounds. In this video, we're going to take a look at what are Playgrounds, how to work with them, how best to use it, and some of the limitations of the Playgrounds. So, what are Playgrounds exactly? Playgrounds is a new type of document, or interactive programming environment, introduced in Xcode 6. It's just a file that contains the Swift code and generates the result automatically every time you edit your Playground file. For embedded resources, Playgrounds contains a folder which are available to your code. You can also reference on your system what you want to make available. Another interesting thing you can see in Playgrounds are a timeline where you can see graphs, visualizations of the results of your code. We will see this in action later. So just jump to start to see Playgrounds in action. Let's start and open Xcode from the bottom bar, and you will see that we can create a new playground. Clicking over the Get Started with Playgrounds, make a click to create our first playground. I'm going to put in the name Learning Swift 2. You can choose any one you want and in the platform. I'm going to choose iOS. Playgrounds are available for OS X and tvOS 2. When you open your Playground for the first time, it comes by default with an import UI kit. So we have access to everything related to this framework, and we create a string with the assigned value of Hello Playground to that string. As you will notice that you can see the result in the sidebar right away. This is the main idea of Playgrounds. Let's try something with numbers. Say I plus I for value in 0 to 10. You can see that the code was executed, and we're getting an indicator in the sidebar that the code was executed 10 times. If we change it to 100, we immediately see the result indicator changes to 100, indicating that this code was executed 100 times. This is really useful information. But what if we want to see the result instead? Playgrounds support for this as well. If you just hover over the result, you will see the line of code associated with this part of the code, and also we see two buttons here, one for taking a quick look and the other to see the result. So let's click over Quick Look, and you will see the result over time in a graph. If we make a click over result, we will see how the result is, as placed below the line the code associated it. So let's try something different. Let's try with a color. So let color equal to UIColor.redColor. You'll see there in the results sidebar that now we are showing the color as its components. Now let's create a UI view. So let's add view with background color equal to UI view. CG rect and set the x-axis for 50 and the y-axis to 50 too, and the width and height to 50. Now put the background color property of the view to the color created before. View background color equal to color, and now if we see the result, we see a view with origin in 50/50 with a red background color. Great! Some of the supported types in Playgrounds are colors, strings, images, views, array and dictionaries, URLs, classes and structs, and any other imported by modules. Playgrounds are very useful for learning to code in Swift in a safe and easy way. You can use Playgrounds to test your algorithms before you integrate it to your main project. Any code drawing it's also great mainly because you change your code every time you see the change visually. Of course, finally, experimentation is one of the best uses of Playground. You can test some API because you don't need to build and run, and also you don't need a project. Just open up, type your code, and see what happens. Let's see some limitations that we have with the use of Playgrounds. Playgrounds should not be used for performance testing, mainly because the logging of the results will generally dominate the runtime, not the actual code. This means the actual performance will not depend on whatever you're developing. Instead, the number of lines of code executed. Playgrounds cannot be used for things that require user interactions, for showing live views. It has a great support, but it's only allowed to see them, not touch them. For iOS, Playgrounds only supported the on-device execution against the simulator, so anything that requires a device will not be supported by Playgrounds. For deeper knowledge about Playgrounds, we recommend you see the WWDC 2014 video about it. In this video, we learned how to use Playgrounds. In this section, we learned some interesting points about the Swift programming language and its comparisons with Objective-C, and how to install and setting up the Xcode IDE, the main IDE supported by Apple to create iOS and OS X apps, and how to use the tool named Playgrounds to run and test Swift code in a fast and easy way. Excellent, right? In the next section, we will start with section 2, where we are going to learn the basics of Swift programming language, such as variables, constants, control flow, conditional statements, function and closures, the special data type, optional, and other interesting topics. See you in the next section. Well done!